In episode 2 of The Legend of Korra, our young avatar struggles with mastering airbending, disobeys her teacher, Tenzin, and shifts her focus to Republic City's famous Probending arena, where she befriends the brothers Mako and Bolin, who compete in Probending matches on their team, the Fire Ferrets. Will Korra's newfound interest in Probending help her achieve mastery of her last and final element, or will her disobedience leave her as a half-baked avatar instead? Hey folks, my name is Antoine Bandele, your resident geek, giving you theories and discussion for all things Avatar, and today, let's explain The Legend of Korra Book 1 Air, A Leaf in the Wind. The episode starts with a slightly different intro, which will become the usual going forward in the series. Like before, we get the past avatars representing each of their elements, followed by the statue of Avatar Aang and Avatar Korra looking out to the east to Republic City with the sunset as their backdrop. We also have another new piece to the intro which will become commonplace, and that's the newsreel recap in the style of our own real-world newsreels from the early 20th century. Each newsreels recap throughout the series is voiced by Shiro Shinobi, who is an in-lore radio broadcaster within Republic City. More on him later. In our opening shot, Korra reads a Republic City newspaper. The big bold Chinese text on the front roughly translates to breaking news or perhaps Yuan news. The newspaper also depicts the Probending arena, which is a short distance from Air Temple Island, where Korra resides now. On the back of the newspaper we have Tano, the waterbending captain of the White Falls Wolfbats. Say that 3 times fast. The Wolfbats are a professional pro-bending team, a new sport created by the citizens of Republic City. Further down in the newspaper, we also get another glimpse at Amon once more, a reminder of the radical leader of the extremist group known as the Equalists. After reading about an exciting and close pro-bending match, Korra, who we know is a lover of the physical side of bending, is immediately intrigued and wants to see a live match. The idea is instantly shut down by Tenzin, however, who believes that sport is a mockery of the noble tradition of bending. This will become the first of many disagreements between master and student. In the background, we see several air acolytes, not to be mistaken with the former air nomads who could airbend before the 100-Year War. Although the members of the Air Acolytes are not airbenders, they are committed to keeping the traditions and culture of the Air Nation alive. They wear traditional dress, practice nonviolence, and promote peace and harmony throughout the world. The Air Acolytes were founded in 101 AG by the official Avatar Aang fan club, who were chiefly responsible for maintaining air nomad culture even after the genocide of the Airbenders. For her first lesson in proper airbending, Korra is told to get through an obstacle course made of spinning wooden gates. The object is to get through without touching any of the gates, flowing through and around it like a leaf in the wind, finding the path of least resistance. Trouble with this is that airbending is the opposite of Korra's more brash personality, and she only ends up finding herself on the ground time and time again. Tenzin mentions that his father Avatar Aang had the same issue with earthbending, an art form dictated by techniques rooted in the ground and strong defense, the opposite of Aang's light-footed mentality. We see this hardship in the previous series episode, Bitter Work. Unlike the other 3 elements of water, earth, and fire, airbending is almost exclusively spiritual in nature. Its strength is that its element is found everywhere, though it requires its user to have a spiritual awareness at all times. Later that night, Korra continues to struggle with airbending, using a picture of her new arrival, Lin Beifong, as a target. The Chinese script on the newspaper reads Republic News. On the back, we get our first out-of-focus look at Tarlok, the Northern Water Tribe representative of the United Republic Council. More on him in future videos. The issue with Korra in this scene is that she is using aggression to manifest her bending, which is effective for something like firebending, as we see her burn away the newspaper, but not so great for airbending. Frustrated with her failures, Korra decides to eavesdrop on a radio broadcast of a pro-bending match. But again, Tenzin shuts down any request the young avatar might have for the new sport. After another day of zero progress for Korra, she decides to sneak out to catch a pro-bending match for herself, live and in person. By the way, how cool is this waterbending dive? Shout out to Studio Mir, who beautifully animated all of The Legend of Korra. After a short swim, Korra arrives at the Probending arena, a glistening golden palace that is modeled after the Hamadir Sahib in Amritsar, India, and the Saltaire Pavilion from the Great Salt Lake from the late 1800s. Eventually, Korra finds an open window, which she sneaks through. She happens upon a workout room where she meets Toza, the manager of the gym and a former pro-bending champion as the earthbending member of the Black Quarry Porcupines. In fact, his team holds the record for the longest streak of pro-bending championships year after year. Korra also meets another earthbending probender in Bolin, an active player of the Fire Ferrets. Toza, thinking Korra is another hoodlum sneaking into his arena, is about to toss the young avatar to security when Bolin covers for her and shows her the best seat in the whole arena. Korra is completely gobsmacked by the expanse of the arena. Bolin tries to introduce her to his brother Mako, the firebending probender and their star player, but Mako is completely dismissive of Avatar Korra, thinking she's only a groupie. Also, he's too focused on the match she has ahead. Probending is a popular sport originating in Republic City that involves 2 teams of 3 benders. One from each of the main bending arts besides airbending since, there's only 4 airbenders in the entire world at this time, and 3 of them are underage. The objective of the sport is to gain as much territory within the ring as possible within 3 minutes, or, alternatively, to drive members of the opposing team over the edge of the ring. According to one of the producers of the show, Joaquin Dos Santos, part of the inspiration of probending was the leathered time period of American football, with a mix of taekwondo and karate with the belt sash. In fact, the belt sash idea came from co-creator Brian Konietzko as a way to distinguish each player's element from one another through the fast-paced sport. Many fans note that probending takes a page out of our modern-day mixed martial arts, whereas each probender is more similar than they are different in the way that they bend the elements. Whereas traditional bending has longer, more sweeping techniques, probenders often favor speed and efficiency beyond all else. Also, the ring of probending is very similar to that of a boxing ring, which was very popular in America in the 1920s. And penalties are issued via yellow and red fans, just like the flags in American football and traditional football or soccer. As the match begins, we're introduced to the ring announcer and the, quote, voice of probending, Shiro Shinobi. The announcer is clearly modeled after modern boxing and wrestler announcers, and according to behind-the-scenes sketches, Shinobi's design, particularly his shoulders, are modeled after the late Larry King, a famous radio broadcaster from the 1950s to the 2010s. Due to their waterbender Hasuk not being the best teammate, it's up to Mako to single-handedly finish off the opposing team, which he does in glorious fashion. And his performance catches the eye and intrigue of Korra. Korra's fascination isn't all about attraction to the star player, but also the sport itself. Remember, Korra has been subjected to the South Pole her entire life. All of her bending training has been conducted under traditional benders, and she has never seen the modern styles that are used in the probending arena, a mixing and matching of water, earth, and fire. This hodgepodge style of probending is displayed perfectly in Korra's first lesson with Bolin, where he teaches her how to bounce on her feet as she earthbends for more speed and dexterity, a technique that is particularly foreign to any traditional earthbender. It is clear at this point that Korra learns much better through action and active practice, rather than meditative reflection as her master Tenzin wants her to do. Back on Air Temple Island, Korra isn't doing any better with her training, and Tenzin's dogmatic approach is no help. Unfortunately, Korra completely loses her cool and destroys the wooden gates, which Tenzin states was a, quote, 2,000-year-old historical treasure. In typical teenager fashion, Korra blows up in Tenzin's face instead of, apologizing for destroying her master's wooden gates. Korra returns to the probending arena to find a downtrodden Fire Ferret team. Hasuk, their waterbending member, is a no-show and the team is in jeopardy of a forfeit. Thankfully, Korra is a waterbender and can take his place. However, when the match starts, Korra doesn't know the first thing about probending and its rules. First, she knocks her opponent over the side of the ring instead of the back. Second, she sets foot over the zone line, causing a penalty. And third, after getting overwhelmed by rapid-fire bending she's not used to, she defends herself with earthbending, which technically isn't actually against the rules, but the referees ask her to only use waterbending for the rest of the match. The design of the referees were influenced by sumo wrestling referees from Japanese television. Back on Air Temple Island, Tenzin and the White Lotus guards discover that Korra is not in her bed by way of the probending broadcast on the radio. Understandably angry, Tenzin makes his way to the arena in a fit of rage. After getting pummeled once more, Korra finds herself at the feet of Tenzin, who gives her a talking to. The two go back and forth about what's best for Korra's training, ending in Korra going back to her match and Tenzin taking to the stands, both of them in a huff. At the end of the match, it all clicks for Korra. Using the principles of airbending, using the path of least resistance, she dodges all the attacks from the opposing team through spiral motions. Her continued defensive maneuvers allow her team to come back and win the match. Korra learns a valuable lesson in applying every lesson she learns into her style, both old and new. In the end, both Korra and Tenzin learn something new about being the student and the master, apologizing to one another and continuing their relationship anew, and with newfound respect. The episode ends with Mako looking out to the west, to Korra and the Air Temple Island. Korra looks back, setting up a budding romance. If you want to learn more about the world of Avatar Legends, like the early life of Avatar Kyoshi or Avatar Yang, you can listen on Audible with a free trial using my personal code. Using my code helps support this channel and more videos like these. Thank you for watching, and check out the next video in this series or share this one with a friend who might like it. I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, peace, love, and remember, be water, my friends.